Going on, everybody? Today I'm going to show you how to cook up some chanterelles. First, we're going to clean them up. Already got a bag clean back here, but just to show you all how we clean them, go ahead and do this one. Let's see how they got a little bit of dirt on them, and some of them you'll see at the very end they'll have some dirt here. I usually just break that off. Kind of rub them a little bit, get that dirt out. A little bit of dirt don't hurt, so as long as most of it's out of there, that way you don't get some grit. We're not chickens. A lot of times these gills, they'll have kind of a little bit of dirt specks here and there. I usually just leave them in there. And then here's that dirty part on that stem. I just break that off, or you can cut it off, whatever you want to do. We got a composter there. So basically that's a finished chanterelle right there. Cleaned up, ready to go in the skillet. Next thing, set that there for a moment. What I like to do is turn the stove on, put it on about 4 or so to start with. Get a little butter, put in your skillet, let it melt real good. Should do for now. What you want to do is whenever this butter melts, you want to just kind of make sure it's all over the bottom of your pan. Alright, now what I like to do, you can tell that this is a chanterelle. One of the methods is just taking and peeling it apart. If it peels apart like string cheese like that, you know it's a chanterelle. But I like to break it up into pieces so it cooks better. And you can also kind of pick more dirt out of there if need be. It takes quite a bit of these to make a good skillet full. So, but you can put those in there, and you can toss whatever else you want in. I'm going to my clean bag now. The gill structure on these, here and there, you'll notice that there's some forked gills. That's how you determine it's a chanterelle. That and these gills also look like they're kind of molded, like, you know, they're slightly melted looking. They're not sharp and bladed. And of course the color, you know, is usually about the same. So, you know, peeling apart like string cheese, that's one of the main characteristics. You can make the pieces as big as small as you want, doesn't matter. Look at that monster. It's actually two pieces and two mushrooms kind of stuck together on the same stem. Yeah, we're freezing these so we can kind of preserve them for later use. We just kind of take and saute these in butter, make sure they're decently brown, and then we'll put them in freezer bags and stick them in the deep freeze. I have got approximately 83 dozen of these. So it'll take a little bit of cooking. I'll just put a lot of them in here and then cook them down. Stir them every now and then. Just kind of mix them up. pretty hard to get these to burn. They don't really burn, they just kind of turn brown. A little bit of dirt on that one. Another big one. Alright guys, so there's about 7 dozen in this skillet, and chanterelles will release their own water, as you can tell down here. You know, they're starting to release their own water. I don't like to cook them too far because these mushrooms here are simply going to be added to something else later when we actually remove them from the freezer. So what I like to do now, once I get all these, you know, somewhat cooked up, I'll take and add my spices. Temperature still set on 4. You can kind of see how everything's starting to look now. Water's starting to come out of them. So I add just a little bit of garlic salt, then I'll stir it up a little bit. A little bit of paprika. And then the garlic powder. This one ain't even open yet, it's brand new. Then we stir it in. You can hear that's all the water coming out of the mushrooms. I haven't added anything else. I just add a little bit of butter there to begin with, just to kind of coat the pan. That way these don't start sticking to the bottom of the pan. You can really start smelling it. Now I add just a little bit more, just to kind of make sure everything's got some spice to it. Let's take and mix it in one more time. At this point, it wouldn't hurt to turn your temperature up to about 6 or 8. I'll just do about 7. Just kind of speed up the process a little bit. I just want things to get slightly more mushy than what they were whenever I put them in. Because we don't want to overcook these, because we're going to cook them again whenever we take them out of the freezer. Let them sit there and cook for about 30 seconds or so, and then we'll stir them up. Do about another 30 seconds, and then we'll go ahead and put them on a plate, kind of drain it off a little bit, and then put it in a freezer bag. Put it in the freezer. You want to let these cool off, obviously, before you put them in a freezer bag. Make sure all the mushrooms off the side of the wall here on the pan. Alright, those have cooked for about 30 more seconds. We go ahead and cut the stove off. Alright, now if you got a strainer like this, they'll come in really handy right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strain these mushrooms, this water off these mushrooms, into the sink. The best I can without losing anything. I'm going to have a Chanterelle lunch here in a minute. Okay. That's about what they look like right now. And we're going to add some of these to the plate, let them cool off, and then we'll add them to a freezer bag. If you don't have a strainer spoon, salad tongs or regular tongs work just fine. So I just kind of add them to a plate, kind of let them cool off on their own, because that pan will stay pretty hot for a while. The rest I'll kind of leave in the pan or get another plate. Alright, I'll just kind of set them there, let them cool off. As you can tell, they're steaming pretty vigorously right now. Get over there. That's basically the finished product before you put it in the freezer bag. Once these cool off, we'll get back with you. Good old Chanterelles. Been about 10 minutes roughly since we recorded the last segment in this video. They're cooled down enough now where we can bag them up in the freezer bag. Some of them are still steaming slightly, but it's not going to bother things much. I can pick them up with my fingers without any problems. Hot one there. Tastes even better than chicken, I think. So yeah, this is about 7 dozen mushrooms cooked down. About what they look like in the end. if you're freezing them. I mean, you can eat them straight like that. It doesn't matter. I mean, they're cooked. So that's about what 7 dozen looks like after they're cooked. If I'd have done 7 dozen before they were cooked, it'd fill that bag up completely. Now, actually, a grocery bag, it'll fill about halfway full with 7 dozen. All right, now if you got a like some of the vacuum bags, you know, this process is a lot easier. But this here, what I like to do is just squeeze the bag out real good. We had to interrupt this program. We had a phone call. So anyway, so try to get the most air out of this as you can. Just kind of roll it up real good. I like to do is just kind of roll it up, make sure most of the air is out of it. Just like so. When you get to that point, just kind of zip it up. This is a Ziploc. Can't really squeeze these mushrooms too much because they still got a little bit of liquid in them. So that's probably about as good as you're going to get. So they'll go from here directly to the freezer, and we'll label these, making sure that we know when they were cooked. So today's September 12th, 2018. These will probably be 8 or sold in a couple months, so won't have to worry about that. But still, it's on there. That's what they look like. Now we're going to go ahead and put them in the freezer. This particular freezer is brand new. It's got a lot of holders in the doors here. That'd be a great place to put these mushrooms. And also a good place to put in canned goods. We won't be really using this freezer much because we have a deep freeze, but the deep freeze is completely full. So this one's going to be used right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick these in here with the date on the outside of it so I can see what the date is, just in case they're in here for a little longer. So, you know, just like that right there. Well guys, that's the end of this video. Hope y'all liked it. Rate, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Have a good one. See you on the next one.